Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry. And this is Adrian Reads Harry Potter.
Why don't we just do a variety hour? Why don't we just go into variety
We
hour?
do a variety hour next. We got to do Harry Potter first.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Well, it's tempting, but we could just do a variety hour.
We had a big J.K. Rowling reveal here.
What?
We're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Chapters 9 and Chapters 10, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Bit of a rundown here, summary?
Yeah, I just want to. I want to fluff this video a little bit. I have a strong literary reference coming.
Holy shit.
In this video, so I just want to. That's called a tease in the business. We're going to tease that now. We're going to tease it up front. It's like a mullet.
With a tease.
It's like a mullet. We got a tease up front and a party in the back.
Oh, we should grow mullets.
You can grow a mullet.
I actually have the opposite of a mullet right now.
You do. It's like you have the 2018 mullet.
I have the party in the front, the business in the back. It's all good.
You got the business in the front and the party in the back.
Do I?
Yeah.
No, that's a mullet.
The front of your hair is slicked back.
Oh. It's a homeless look. Anyway, it's enough about my hair.
We'll see.
Chapter 9.
Okay.
This is a place to hide. We get the wedding. It's a complete disaster. The kids escape to London. They scrap a little bit with some Death Eaters at a cafe. We retreat to Grimwald Place, the House of Black. And Harry has a good old-fashioned Voldy vision of Draco torturing a Death Eater. It's just very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Things aren't right about that. Chapter 10, Creature's Tale. We discover possibility about who R.A.B. is. Big reveal. Isn't that a good J.K. Rowling reveal? I figured you'd be excited about that.
Oh, I didn't even...
I told you it wasn't good when we got it. Yeah. It's Sirius's brother, Regulus, and Creature both help plant and steal the Horcrux. So Creature was involved in all this.
Yeah.
The locket has been taken now by Mundungus Fletcher, and Creature is going to be sent to fetch him. Adrian.
Yeah.
What are you thinking this week?
Like you say, that was a regular J.K. Rowling reveal. We had no reason to suspect it, but it was sprung upon us in such mundane fashion that we never even really got a reveal out of it.
That's probably one of the biggest disappointing reveals of this entire series to me. Because, there was a huge build-up to, who R.A.B. is.
Yeah.
And, that could have gone well. You could have done something fun with them. Turns out it's Sirius's brother that you've never known about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so when you're revealing a character by their initials, there's almost no other way to do it anyhow, right? It has to be someone you've never heard of, or it's going to sneak out. It's not going to be... Someone could have put it together.
You could have played a little bit we had the Half-Blood Prince reveal. That was an okay reveal. It was all right.
Yeah, but it was not revealed by initials.
R.A.B. could have stood for something else.
Sure.
We could have played with something, not just, it's his long-lost brother. He's totally been here the whole time, but I forgot to add because I forgot about him.
Reginald Albus Black.
I'll take it. Close enough. So what do you want to start with here? What do you want to talk about this week on Harry Potter?
Well, these chapters, they are very charitable to the house elves, yes?
Okay.
After all, it's proven that all functioning and they have all of the functional and conflicting emotions of real people, right?
Yeah, I give you that.
Isn't that nice? Isn't it?
Okay.
They've got all the feelings that real people have, but none of the autonomy.
Creature even revealed to have a little bit of emotion in this when he gets gifted a false locket.
Yeah.
But it's something. He gives him a little respect for the kids.
I was expecting him to have a hole in his ear that he put it through like an earring and then he's free. But these creatures literally have to be watched out for, right?
Okay.
They have all of the emotions of real people, but they don't have the autonomy. So they have to be watched out for. Like children, right?
Okay.
They must be subservient for their own good.
Okay.
If you had house elves out there just running around, it wouldn't be good for them, right?
It's true. That's why my father had children. He's like, well, I'm not mowing the lawn anymore, so.
They'd get in trouble for themselves, wouldn't they? They wouldn't know exactly what to do.
Okay.
So the house elves depend on the wizards as much for the difficult things in life, as much as the wizards depend on house elves for the simple things. That's what's proven here, right?
Okay.
Some of these wizards don't have time to make their own food. They got to have a house elf to do it.
It's a difficult world.
This reminds me, the symbiosis here. Sure, the house elves need wizards, but the wizards need their house elves too, right?
Okay.
That symbiosis reminds me of an old poem. The responsibility that wizards have to these lowly house elves, right?
There's such a build-up here. I feel like I'm going to be disappointed by this poem.
Well, my handwriting is garbage. I had to find this because I don't own a copy. But you might recognize it. You might recognize this poem. In patience to abide, to veil the threat of terror, and check the slow pride by open speech and simple, and 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. The savage words of peace fill full the mouths of famine, and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal lie nearest, the end for others sought, watch sloth and heathen folly, bring all your hopes to naught. Does that sound familiar?
No.
So, you'll recognize it. You know what happened there. I messed up the first line to each stanza.
Okay.
Take up the white man's burden, in patience to abide, to veil the threat of terror, and check the show of pride. By open speech and simple, and 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden. The savage wars of peace fill full the mouths of famine, and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal lie nearest, and the end for others sought, watch sloth and heathen folly, bring all your hopes to naught. Sound familiar now?
No!
White man's burden?
No!
You've never heard of the white man's burden?
No, I haven't.
You've never heard of the white man's
No,
burden?
I haven't. What is it? Who's it by?
So I'm going to let you look that part up, because you should know this.
Okay, I should know this.
But you've never heard of the trope, the white man's burden?
I've heard of the trope, but I've never heard of it. Okay.
So what is the white man's burden?
Go on.
Well, the white man's burden is us white people, we have to colonize. We have to go and help other people because they don't know Christian values.
Okay.
We have to go and we have to take over India. We have to enslave other races because, without us in our direction, they just waller anyway. What we're doing, they're helping us with simple things. They're sending us tea and spices. But really, we're giving them our culture, which is far superior to anything they would have heathened upon themselves.
Okay.
Does that or does that not sound like what the wizards are doing for the house elves here?
See, it's always a pain in the ass doing these videos because sometimes you make good points. I'm like, well, he makes a good point.
Yeah,
but...
that is the white man's burden.
Okay.
I can't believe... I thought that this was going to be a hammer drop video.
A hammer drop? You want me to drop something that will make you feel better?
Maybe.
I'll drop my faux wooden phone case.
That's way too hipster a dropping.
I try.
Not only is it faux wooden, but you did this.
It hung on my finger too, like I just couldn't bring myself to drop it. It was just too much of a burden.
Yeah, that's the white man's burden. So that is the racist underpinnings of the entire, not even just the relationship with house elves, but the relationships with, what were the other things that we saw earlier in this book that I made fun of?
Gnomes?
Gnomes and the... Ron owns a goblin?
A ghoul?
Ghoul, yeah. So
okay.
These aren't just things that could be read in a racist way. They are actually employed in the classic racist way. That, I don't know if these house elves would really be all right on their own.
Good thing they got us around.
Yeah, it's a good thing they've got the white man.
Okay. I love how we start literally every week with Harry Potter. If Adrian sit down and be like, you know what? This text is racist. This text is terribly racist. Here is a good defined argument as to why this text is racist. And it's 50 people are like, well...
Yeah. There's always going to be an excuse for Harry Potter.
I think you're reading too much into it, Adrian. You're just reading
too much into it. Are you
too
saying
much
this right
into
now,
it.
or are you mocking commenters?
I'm faux mocking commenters because that's a great way to get more commenters. Be like, well, Adrian, you might be reading a bit too much into this.
No, this is absolutely in the text.
Okay. It's a good argument. I can't really argue against it, honestly. Yeah. These house elves are used as servants, honestly, and that we're giving them our lives, basically, and pouring them into our culture.
Sure, they have to do the simple little things
We
for
just
us.
need you to help us out. Help out around
But they
the
get
house.
so much more out of this relationship.
Absolutely. It's great for them.
Yeah.
It's great for them. Okay. Well, that took a dark turn. Let's talk about a little bit of a few things here with these chapters. The Patronus.
My Patronus.
My Patronus. I think we have... I think we have
Patronus.
A problem here. Patronus.
My Patronus.
Are you done? You good? Are you guys just switch into like Amadeus next? Because that's been stuck in my head ever since we were at the bookstore and you went with Amadeus. But anyway, Patronus.
My Patronus.
There you go. It was coming.
My Patronus.
Patronus.
My Patronus.
Do Patronus speak?
My Patronus.
Patroni?
Patroni.
Do Patroni speak?
Well, it goes back to the Patronus comes back to the term patriarchy. We all have to have. I don't know where I was going.
No,
with that.
honestly,
I don't know. Why?
this is your first time reading through here. Do they speak? Do they do anything? Are they just this?
I have never seen one speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When
I had never seen one speak. Right.
when all of a sudden have we decided in this book alone, because we were first introduced to the Patronus in, oh dear, Lupin's first book. Was that 3 or 4?
I think it was 3.
Okay. We're first introduced that at that point in time. And then
Might
all of a
be
sudden,
4.
all of a sudden in this book, they are no longer used to fend off Dementors. They're used as messengers.
Yeah.
What the hell does that tell you about anything? Because Ron sends his Patronus back to let him know they're safe. Old Shacklebolt sends his Patronus to the wedding to know the Death Eater's coming. What the hell? Are they talking? Are they doing something? Or is just this Jack Russell Terrier just showing up at the house and just walking around and be like, oh, well, Ron must be safe?
Well, I imagine it's that because the Patronus does not look actually like the animal, right?
Yes, it does.
I thought it was like a ghostly apparition of the
A
animal.
ghostly apparition of the
Right,
animal, but
so
you can tell what it is.
Everyone has their own Patronus,
Yes.
right? So it's very rare that these Patroni overlap.
Okay, fair.
So if you have a steed Patronus show up, you know, oh, well, either Harry Potter's still alive, or didn't someone else have a steed Patronus? Was it his father? Okay. Or Harry's father came back to life, which is unlikely.
So let's look at it this way.
My Patronus.
I think it's incorrect. There's something missing here. We're just using Patroni, willy-nilly, Patroni, willy-nilly, with no avail. Because Shacklebolt sends his forward. I believe it's a lynx during the wedding, yeah?
Yes.
To warn them of the Death Eater's coming.
Yes.
What's the difference between sending it to warn someone and sending it to know, oh, well, you're safe? There's none. You just got this ghosty fucking animal walking around the house doing things.
Well, I think it's like, so you've got a Patronus showing up, and you know, so if I know Dalton's Patronus is, I don't know, what would a Dalton Patronus be?
Like an overweight otter?
Okay, an otter. An otter shows up at my house, I know Dalton's probably not coming to film.
Do you know I'm not coming to film? Or do you know I'm on my way?
I am suspicious that you're not coming to film because I know you.
There's no difference. There's no evidence. There's no difference
Penguin.
to say what the Patronus. A penguin?
A penguin would be your Patronus.
If the penguin wanders in, we're not filming. You do
Straight out of
realize.
Fight Club.
You do realize the next time I'm not coming to film, I'm just gonna like put a wind-up penguin at your door and leave.
Then you would have come here.
Yeah, and then
If you
drove
come
back.
here, you know I smell you.
Fair. It smells like sandalwood, beard oil, and disappointment.
Mainly disappointment, because
Mainly
I forgot the
disappointment.
sandalwood beard oil this morning.
But no, I for some reason in this book we start using them as messengers, and I don't think there's any evidence of like how they're distinguishing this. They're just this ghostly apparition shows up, and magically we know something's up.
There is no precedent for this in the text. I think that's what you're getting at, right?
And for some reason we took this spell that was used very heavily in the beginning of the first few books here to ward off the Dementors, and like it was a huge spell. It's a big deal that Harry learned this, and now it's just well, it's convenient, so we'll just do that.
Well, I wonder if it is so. I'm trying to think of another way to explain this. It is a wartime.
Okay.
So everyone assumes that when Moldavort is back, these are times of war.
True.
We have lost Diddledore. These are times of war. If we live on a fort together,
Okay.
and you hear gunshots, what does it mean?
Something bad's happening.
Be on alert,
True,
right?
true.
At least be on alert. So obviously something bad is happening if you hear gunfire, but I'm trying to think of something with which to equate it. But the presence of a Patronus, especially when you know from whom that Patronus comes, is likely
It alerts you towards something.
Yeah, towards
I
something.
understand that, but this is a very clear distinguishing alert towards Death Eaters are coming,
Yeah, so I think
and
what-
alert towards we're fine.
right. The mistake you're making is assuming that someone so lowly as J.K. Rowling has put that much thought into it.
And that's what's killing me. It's bugging me because, reading this again, this is something I've always overlooked, but now that I have Adrian in the back of my mind, it's pissing me off.
Right, because you're an adult.
So I just like to hope that Ron's Jack Russell Terrier just showed up, sat at the kitchen table, lit a cigar, and be like, the kids are all right. It's fine.
Okay.
All right, that's all I got. It just pissed me off, and I had to comment on it.
Yeah, I don't know. So it is, like you say, very late in the series to be making things up still.
Okay.
I am not sure who profits from this. I am not sure. I am not. If you're, why not just make up another magical device with which we might communicate these things?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It would make sense. If you're living in a magical world where anything is possible, we don't have any kind of alert system?
Yeah. Green flares for good, red flares for bad.
Remember a while back when I said I've got this huge, great point coming that I want to have at the end of this novel because, it just infuriated me when it clicked?
Yes.
Kind of similar along those lines, but we're going to get there.
So it's something that happens with a previously known artifact for which there is no precedent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Essentially, okay.
Essentially. Oh my God, it just pisses me off. And this is why I hate reading things with you. You make me actually think about it. I just wanted to enjoy the book.
Yeah, God forbid.
Talk a little bit of Harry Potter, call it a day.
God forbid we attempt to live intellectually, right?
It's just terrible.
Let's just fly by, by
terrible.
the seat of our pants and enjoy the magic.
So I think a little bit has to be said here about creatures specifically. Because we talked a little bit about the idea of, the house elf servitude and possibly slavery. We get Hermione's little bit again, being the bastion of defense for the house elves with Creature. I think this is a good moment here by J.K. because Creature is set to be this despicable, terrible being, tainted by the Dark Lord. He's just not a good creature. But we feel a little sympathy for him in this. Regardless of how terrible this thing is, we do feel sympathy for Creature at this point in time. The whole idea of, Voldemort using Creature basically to, have to drink all the poison and then being thrown to the Inferi. We have a little sympathy at that point for Creature. So I think that's well done. We have sympathy for the despised character. So good on that end. I'll give it that.
I don't know that we do.
You don't have sympathy for him?
I think that this is just fodder made up to make Reginald look good.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who's the only one that really feels sorry for him is Hermione.
True. Hermione is the only one that feels sorry for him, but I believe the reader would interpret this and have a little sympathy towards Creature at this point.
Oh, so we're supposed to identify with Hermione? Who would have known?
Maybe just a little bit. A little bit. I think it's well done. You take your despised character and you have a little sympathy for him, seeing him in a new light.
How is it well done? Pulled off well?
Hey, it's pulled off,
Or
yeah.
I appreciate the effort.
Let's go with appreciate the effort. I can give it that.
Are you going to agree with anything I throw out next just to agree?
If it makes you feel better, I will.
Harry Potter sucks.
Nah, I can't go that far. It's still pretty good.
No, it's not. You're not even having fun with it anymore.
It's still pretty good. Yeah, it's still something.
Okay, so after this, we're immediately going to jump back into book one.
Do you want to do it again?
Do you?
I'll do it again. I don't mind.
No, we're not doing it
Doesn't
again.
mind. I've read these before. We can do it again. It's just no big deal.
You're such a hipster.
You want to do the next 3 years Harry Potter round 2?
No.
Part 2?
No.
I'm about it. Anything else you want to talk about here before I just continue to ramble a little bit?
I don't really have much from this. I was just so disgusted by the racism inherent to this text that I didn't get much further.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't get the white man's burden reference.
We'll talk about it later. Let's talk about Draco Malfoy. Because again, we're having a little bit of sympathy for a character, aren't we?
Are we?
I think we are.
Okay.
I think at this point in time, we have Draco here, and it's seen that Draco is basically being forced to torture a Death Eater. Voldemort's kind of pushing this agenda upon Draco, and Draco is clearly uncomfortable with it.
You've got to sharpen your knives before battle.
I'm just saying, Draco, I have little sympathy. He's the guy who fell in with the bad crowd. He is. He doesn't know how to get out at this point. We have to look at it from Draco's perspective here.
Okay.
Draco's parents kind of pushed him down this path. It's clearly something he's not comfortable with. We saw that in the tower when he was unable to, do old Dumbledore in. We're seeing it now when he's uncomfortable with the torturing of the Death Eaters. I think Draco is having a little bit of growth as a character. He's not just the typical bad guy that we saw in book 1. He's someone who's suffering at this point, who doesn't want to be part of this.
Are you saying that Drago's not accountable for the things he's doing?
He is accountable for the things he's doing. He's still doing them.
Okay.
But I think we have a little bit of growth out of Draco. I think there's some remorse in what he's doing now, as opposed to the typical just bad guy that we get in the first book.
What's Draco's father's name?
Lucius?
Lucius, yes. Lucius's dad probably did the same things to him.
Probably did.
He's a poor guy, isn't he?
I don't think Lucius ever had any remorse for what he did, though. The only time Lucius... Go on. You gave me a face like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You have no reason to know whether Lucius had any remorse or not. We're not given a context that close to the character.
We're not.
The psychic
However,
distance is so far from that whole generation of characters that we have no reason to believe that they have thoughts other than those that they show us.
the only evidence that we could have to support that is Lucius only left Lord Voldemort's side and left the Death Eaters when Voldemort fell. So at that point, we can interpret it as two things. Either he left because he didn't have his protection anymore. He's like, oh, shit, I gotta do what's best for old Lucius here. Or he left because he realized, well, maybe my horse, my money on the wrong horse.
Well, you can make that argument all you want, but pardon me for jumping back to an argument from Jordan Peterson. Imagine fascism takes over the United States today.
Okay.
Can you tell me that you would not be a guard in a Jewish death camp?
Okay. It's a good argument.
Can you tell me you wouldn't?
I don't think anybody could make that argument.
Yeah, because guess what? People love you and count on you. So the minute you say, no, I'm not doing this, they're not going to just kill you. It's your entire family they're going to kill. So
Very true.
Lucius might just be a product of that system as well.
May just been doing what he had to do to survive.
Yeah.
Got to stop bringing up Jordan Peterson. All I could think of was like, I got to clean my room. It's just a mess in there. We got to
Clean your room!
Clean your room.
You've got to clean it!
Bathilda Bagshot. We get a little bit of mention back to her and how there might be a little bit more connection than let on. And we have Harry again wanting to further investigate the place of his birth, Godric's Hollow, where he was raised. So clearly, I think we can assume we're going to make a trip to Godric's Hollow. It keeps getting brought back up, so that's coming.
And the book's called Deathly Hallows.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Any idea where that title's coming from yet? Because clearly, the third book, Prisoner of Azkaban, we know what we're talking about there.
Right.
First book, Sorcerer's Stone, we know what we're talking about there. Any idea on the Deathly Hallows?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Why?
I'm just curious. People like to, get the good old Adrian, guess what's coming next. So just a little bit of curiosity, see if maybe you pieced anything together yet.
No.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense, I'll tell you that much. If, you
Oh,
had it
okay,
figured
well.
out. Every now and then, you figure things out way in advance. Like, somebody just recently commented on the Harry Potter videos, and you're like, my God, Dalton's poker face is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you figure things out that happen, 3 books later. I'm like, that's a good point. Let's move the fuck on.
Well, I've gotten a little better at reading them because now when I make a point and Dalton doesn't want to address it, I'm like, well, I'm on to something. When Dalton freaks out when I say something, I don't know. What about the next sentence in the book?
Okay. I try my best, there are still some good reveals in this.
Every time I do the Dalton impression, you go straight into the Dalton voice.
It's fair. There's some good reveals coming. And I told you, I went and did Harry Potter trivia on Tuesday, and we called ourselves 99 Problems, but a Snitch Ain't One. I want to let you know what my other team name was, my first choice.
What's that?
I can't, because it's a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
But it's coming soon, and I'm so excited to tell you.
you
You're
gonna
so
tell me
proud
that?
of me. Yes, I will, because I would have been the guy in the room when they announced my team name, and he goes, "What the fuck is wrong with him? How dare he? How dare he?
Yeah, how dare you, Dalton?
How dare I? Thank you. You ruined me." What else you feel on Harry Potter? Anything else, really?
I didn't really get much out of these chapters.
Not a lot to go off of.
So it seems like 2 chapters at a time might be the perfect reading pace for this book because every 2 chapters are just the same thing.
Okay.
We get a little bit of false start, a little bit of progress, a reflection on things that have happened. A little bit of false start, a little bit of reflection, or a little bit of progress, a little bit of reflection on things that have happened.
So should we keep that in mind moving forward with the next 2 chapters, see if we can prove that theory?
Sure.
So, anything else before I wrap this up?
No, you're fine.
Fantastic. We will be back next week with more Adrian Reads Harry Potter. We are going to be moving on to chapters 11 and 12, The Bribe and Magic is Might. Isn't that a nice chapter named Magic is Might?
Magic is might. I'm assuming there is some type of patriarchy at play there.
Just calling it right now? Putting
Yeah.
your money on patriarchy?
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. If you would like to join us next week with Adrian Reads Harry Potter, we do this.
Adrian?
Adrian Reads Harry Potter.
It's Hadrian's Wall.
I love Adrian. Adrian Reads Harry Potter. We do this every week here on Strip Cover Lit. 2 chapters at a time as we finish up the last book of Harry Potter series. And there's plenty of videos if you haven't stumbled down that rabbit hole yet. The whole series is up on the YouTube now.
Nearly completed.
And you would be surprised how many people are still going back through and starting from the beginning.
Yeah, we have analytics where we can see what videos have been watched in the past 24 hours.
You'd think people actually liked Harry Potter. The damnedest thing.
It's insane. It's
Damnedest
insane.
thing. But if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Strip Cover Lit as well. Like I said, we do this every single week here on Strip Cover Lit.
Unfortunately.
It's a pleasure, and you love it. Adrian Reads Harry Potter. And if you'd like to help us create more content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there is a link, as always, to be found in our Patreon in the description below. English.
Yeah, you really struggled for a good portion of this video, Dalton.
God damn.
I'm
fucking tired.
Oh, timer stopped.
I never started it. I don't know why the fuck I need to double check that today.
It's been a while since you've Daltoned out.
That can mean a lot of things. I could just stroke out completely and just stare at the camera.
A lot of these videos, Dalton, I'm not going to lie.
Sometimes I just let you go, man. I focus on the soup.